De'Aaron Fox and Tyrese Haliburton both speak with the Sacramento media for the first time of this 2021-2022 season. I think it's some fun things to say. De'Aaron Fox has put on 30 pounds of muscle, not this offseason, but since he participated in the draft combine 5 years ago. Tyrese Haliburton has been working on getting to the free throw line, and he and De'Aaron Fox, their relationship has gone up to the next level. Plus, both talk about the play of Davion Mitchell. You're going to hear an abbreviated version of their press conferences on today's episode of the Locked On Kings podcast.
You are Locked On Kings, your daily Sacramento Kings podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
And now, ladies and gentlemen, it is that time for another episode of Locked On Kings.
Hello and welcome into Locked On Kings, your podcast hub for Sacramento Kings coverage all regular season and all off season. If you're looking for in-depth analysis, game-by-game breakdowns, highlights, interviews with local and national experts, full coverage of your Sacramento Kings from January through December, this is the place for you, part of the Locked On Podcast Network. My name is Matt George. I have the privilege of being your host here. I've been a Sacramento Sports media member, Sacramento Kings media member for the last 7 years. This will be my 8th season covering the Kings, now in television at ABC 10, formerly with Sports 1140 KHDK radio here in Sacktown. And can you believe it? We are a month away from the start of the 2021-2022 Sacramento Kings season. I love this short off season, but I am happy to get back to the normal NBA calendar with Kings basketball right around Halloween. So we're starting in mid-October, but we'll have Kings basketball on Halloween. We'll have Kings basketball around Christmas and around Thanksgiving. Of course, the Kings don't usually get any of that holiday primetime schedule, but maybe one day they will. And maybe it will feature both De'Aaron Fox and Tyrese Haliburton, who you are going to hear from today. I'm not playing the full press conferences for you because not everything was must listen in my mind, but I did cut down each press conference to some of the best questions and some of the best answers that I thought they gave. Some just really fun overall conversation. It was good to see the two of them, some of the things that they say, nothing groundbreaking from these press conferences, but some interesting stuff. Tyrese Haliburton, who you're going to hear from here in just a second, he spoke first. He talked about his growing relationship with De'Aaron Fox. He talked about the things that he's been working on during the offseason. He talked about, I actually asked him about what it was like to experience the Golden One Center crowd as a spectator at the California Classic and how much he's looking forward to playing in that group or playing in front of that group at the start of this season, assuming, hopefully, that we will be able to have a full Golden One Center if COVID regulations allow it. But that's still a little bit up in the air. Looks like we are going to have a full crowd at the G1C, which would be absolutely fantastic for opening night, which, again, is just over a month away, and the regular season beginning, isn't it in Portland? I actually haven't memorized the schedule yet, but the regular season beginning not too far, around a month away from for the Sacramento Kings as well. So also, if you're watching on YouTube and you're wondering why it looks like I'm in an empty room, because I am. It's the same room that you're used to. And sorry, audio listeners, you're just going to have to go on YouTube and I can paint the picture for you. Basically, there's a bare wall behind me and my office door, and you can see half the wall is painted or only partially painted. That's because we're going through the process of changing this office, and there's going to be a new painting behind me, and we still have to finish painting the walls. I just got my setup done today. I wasn't planning on doing a Locked On Kings podcast today, but I wanted to make sure that I got you your audio from Tyrese Haliburton and De'Aaron Fox, which I'll get to in just a second. And also, want to let you know that at the end of the podcast, I'll be letting you know how you can enter to win a copy of NBA 2K22 that I'm going to be giving away. Doesn't matter the platform, so be sure to listen to the end of the podcast. I'll share with you how you can enter for that contest. I still have 3 more episodes, I think, coming at the end of this week as well. I'll share with that, or more of that information with you at the end of the podcast. But for right now, let's hear from Tyrese Haliburton, who spoke first with the Sacramento media, and he opened up his press conference talking about just what's been going on with him, the things that he's been working on during this offseason.
There's not really like a secret recipe or anything. I just gotten here and I've been working really hard. From the last time I talked to you guys to now, I just been in the gym, been in the weight room, every day, just working on my body, working on my game, working on everything. I really spent a lot of time in the gym this summer. and it's paid dividends. So I love where I'm at right now. On the strength aspect as well as, in my game. And I'm looking forward to, going into year 2.
If I could follow up on that, where are you noticing that, like in your game, and just, are you feeling kind of that strength and how you might be able to use that?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, we just get, we get to go against each other every day, get to play against each other, whether that's here, when we're in LA or wherever that is with other guys. And, being able to see it in kind of that environment, shows me that it's working. So, as we keep playing, doing more 5-on-5 stuff, doing more, game-like activities, it's easier to see. So just being able to kind of see it in live action has really helped me.
We heard from Luke Walton a couple of months ago, and he talked about assigning defensive drills and working on defense, and how the individual work on defense was going to be a primary focus for your team throughout the offseason. Within what you can reveal, can you share some of the stuff that specifically he asked you or some of your teammates to work on defensively, and how you've put in that defensive work?
I think just sprinkling in things defensively throughout workouts, like taking the end of my workouts or the start of my workouts or during my workouts to do little things defensively, whether that's rotations or, just guarding the ball one-on-one, implementing little things like that, I think has helped me a lot. I think it's helping our team a lot as well as we get, as more guys start coming in, we got more guys here to where we're able to do some stuff. It's little things that, every day to build habits. And then as we go into training camp and have, everybody here, those little things that we've been doing and working on are just gonna, flow right into each other. So just doing little things, during our workouts, I think has helped us. And obviously, when you get in the gym, you're working on your game, working on, mainly the offensive side of the basketball, but them being, our staff has done a great job of, helping us implement things defensively, that's going to pay dividends moving forward.
For you, already having a year with De'Aaron Fox, since we're going to talk to him in a few minutes anyway, I was just curious what your takeaways are. You see a lot of differences since the first time maybe you went up against him in a practice from last year?
Yeah, I keep messing with him because when he texted me and asked me what my weight was, I told him I was up 10 pounds. He called me fat, and then he's out here in these pictures, and it looks like he's the Hulk or something. So I tell him he's fat. So we just mess around that way. But man, he looks good. He looks like he looks stronger. I don't think people realize how strong he is already, but he got stronger, it looks like. But no, I'm looking forward to, kind of getting into camp here, being able to, do some more stuff with him, as we move forward and, just keep growing our relationship. I think, we've gotten closer, through the off season where, we weren't with each other all the time. So it's, texting, FaceTiming, calling each other, checking on each other, just, holding each other accountable. I think that's big for us too. So, I think our relationship's growing and, now as we're together more, keep growing in our synergy and how we play together and everything like that.
And what are your professional thoughts about Davion so far? He helped lead that squad to a summer league championship in Vegas. But what's your thoughts about him thus far? I'm off the air.
Yeah. About Davion, right? Is what you're talking about?
Davion, yes.
Yeah. Obviously, I knew a lot about him coming in, because playing against each other in college, all that stuff. But I think my biggest takeaway is just how hard he works. I'm sure you guys have seen the article or read or whatever that they had to tell him he can't be in here. But he really is in here all the time. He's in here. He lives here, it seems like, and that's a great trait to have. And, I think he works so hard that it's no surprise why he's where he is and has had the success he's had in his basketball career. So that's kind of like refreshing for me to see, see a guy working like that, and it makes me work harder, you know what I'm saying? And I hope that everybody sees that and it works that way for everybody. So, it's cool. It's cool to see. And again, that's just another guy. Like I keep saying the same word over and over, but I think that's the most important thing when in sports is just relationships. So keep growing, knowing each other the right way, playing 2K together, whatever the case may be. We're just growing in our relationships, and I think that's gonna help us be successful. And what I do like about him is, he asks a lot of questions. I'm very similar. I ask questions all the time, and I think he does the same thing where he's not afraid to go to anybody and ask a question. And, I think we're getting to the point where I can tell him something when I'm seeing him do something, he can tell me. So, again, I think that's just going to help us be more successful.
This year, the history. It's a 15-year playoff drought. The longest ever is 16. You guys are in danger of tying that if things don't go well this year. How much of a burden is that? I mean, obviously it's been a burden on the fans for a very long time here and people in the organization, but as players, like, how much do you feel that, and how much does it drive you to kind of break that cycle?
I mean, if I'm being like completely brutally honest, I don't think anybody or any statistic, any record can put more pressure on myself than what I put on myself, if that makes sense. I have like a standard that, I want to uphold in my athletic ability. I want to win. That's been my thing is, I want to be a winning basketball player. And I think everybody agrees with that. They want to win as well. I think the pressure is more so from ourselves because the accountability that we have within each other that we want to be, successful. I don't think it's anything of tying the longest record or anything like that. I didn't even know that until you just said that. Obviously, we want to allow, our fans to make the playoffs. We want to bring the Kings back to the playoffs. It's obviously the biggest goal, but I don't think anybody, wants that, more than us. We're the ones out there, playing so hard and, working every day to do that. And obviously, we'd love to do that for the city of Sacramento and for the fans. But I do know that, guys are holding themselves accountable to where, that's what we want to do. We want to change it. And, that's what I've said from the day that I got drafted here is that I wanted to get his team to the playoffs and, help change the culture. And that's what we're working to do every day.
Ty, I don't know if you were asked about this. You finally got to experience a Golden One Center atmosphere at the California Classic. Haven't really gotten to experience it yet as a player. What was your takeaway from that atmosphere for it just being a summer league game, and how much are you looking forward to playing in front of that this season?
Yeah, I'm really excited about it. I kept telling my girlfriend and the people around me, like, I need this in my life. I missed, kind of that entertainment factor of the game of basketball. And, see so many fans in Golden One and even the passion they had for, a summer league game. I can only imagine what it's going to be like when we get the regular season started. So I'm really looking forward to it. I'm really excited. It's something I can't wait to do, to be honest with you. And I know how passionate, Kings fans are, but I still think that I don't really know, you know what I'm saying? Like I haven't been in it. I haven't been on the court to experience it. So I'm definitely looking forward to that experience.
Today's Locked On Kings podcast is brought to you by Sweat Block, the antiperspirant wipes that work better than anything on the market. I'm using them right now. In fact, I haven't used one for 5 days now because they're doctor created, doctor recommended, and they work for up to 7 days per use. These antiperspirant wipes are just absolutely incredible. They give you a dry shirt guarantee, meaning if Sweat Block doesn't keep you dry, you will get your money back. No questions asked. It's been featured and tested on Rachel Ray, used by firefighters so it can handle their hot climate. It can handle yours. It's a bestseller on Amazon for the past 10 years, has over 13,000 reviews for you to go and check out. Plus, they're currently #1 on Amazon in antiperspirant category. Manufactured in the USA, super easy to get. Like I said, you can get it on Amazon. You can get it at your local CVS pharmacy. Or the best way to get it, honestly, is to go to sweatblock.com. Use promo code LOCKEDON at checkout, and you can get 20% off. So take advantage of that offer. Use Sweatblock. It works for me. It will work for you. Get rid of those sweat stains and just that overall daily discomfort and embarrassment with Sweatblock. And Locked On Kings is brought to you by the new DirecTV Stream. Tell me if this sounds familiar. You've got one device that lets you catch the game live. You have another that lets you stream your favorite shows. You're watching sports highlights on your phone, and you've got your neighbor's best friend's login for all the good other stuff. Well, I want to tell you about a simple way to get all that entertainment that you love without the hassle, and a getaway to finally have all your TV together in one place. It's called DirecTV Stream. It brings live TV and on-demand favorites together like never before, so you can watch your favorite sports, movies, and shows all in one place. That means no more juggling remotes, no need to buy another device ever again. And the best part, they got rid of the worst part of these television contracts, there's no contracts, no contract, period. You can get rid of it whenever you want, like a normal monthly subscription. So get rid of the clutter and the confusion. Get your TV together with DirecTV Stream. You can learn more at directtv.com. That's directtv.com. Compatible device is required. Content varies by package. I love that Tyrese Haliburton and De'Aaron Fox are now calling each other fat over text message. Hey, if their relationship is growing off the court and it grows on the court as well, we know how special that duo can be. De'Aaron talks about playing with Tyrese Haliburton. He also talks about playing one-on-one with Davion Mitchell that I asked him about. Talks about what he's been working on in the offseason, as well as the Kings trying to end this playoff drought. Take a listen to your captain, your superstar, De'Aaron Fox.
For me, just going into the offseason, it was really about, being stronger. It's kind of always a focus. And then a big emphasis on shooting the ball off the dribble. That's where a lot of my shots have come from. So just being able to be more efficient off the dribble. And then obviously, with us having Tyrese and then adding Davion, looking to be off the ball a little bit more. And I shot the ball well off the catch last year, but continuing to be better at that. But for the most part, it was just being able to shoot the ball off the dribble a lot.
Hey, Fox, when it comes to the conditioning thing and getting bigger, I know that's been such a focus every single year. Do you get closer and closer to where you want to get, or are you still a ways away? How far are you from where maybe ideally you'd like to be?
From like the weight that I want to be, or
yeah.
I mean, at some point in my playing career, I would like to play like over 200, something like that. I'm like 197 ish right now, so I'm almost 30 pounds up from where I was at the combine. And as I've gotten stronger, I feel like I've gotten faster, more explosive, things like that. So it's nothing that's ever weighed me down. It's made shooting the ball, a lot easier, being stronger. But I mean, that a lot of it just came with time. I mean, I've always been strong, for my weight, but just putting the weight on was kind of difficult. But as I've gotten older, it's been easier for me to put weight on. So I'm probably not where I want to be, so to say, but at 23 years old, like this is good for me. This is good for me right now.
Yeah. And as you enter your fifth season here, I know, there's always so much talk about the playoffs and you're kind of the face of this franchise. I mean, does the pressure kind of add more? I mean, how do you kind of deal with some of maybe the pressures, outside noise as it comes to maybe seeing the success of this team getting to where you all want to see it?
I wouldn't necessarily say pressure. At the end of the day, we just control what we control. Last year we let a few stretches get out of hand, and that ultimately cost us. And we were close, but not close enough, obviously. But for us, it's just as a team, we have to continue to stick together. When everybody always says, don't get too high on your highs, don't get too low on your lows. And I think last year, at time we got too low, and we had to dig ourselves out of that hole. Basically, say you lost like 18 games in a row, basically. So you cut both of those in half, and we're a totally different team. We're in a totally different spot. Everybody's happy. People were talking about us making the play-in, possibly making a playoff. So that's a large chunk of the season. So for us, we just have to be able to continue to do what we're doing, and not let those 3 or 4 game losing streaks turn into 9-10.
And to follow up on Sean's question about the playoffs, it is it's been a 15-year drought. That's not on you guys, not all of it anyway, but 16 years would tie the all-time NBA record. And I just wonder, is it in the back of your head how that, this is something that you guys want to avoid, you don't want to be attached to? And I know you've spoken out kind of on behalf of the fans and wanting to give them what they want and they've waited so long for. So how much does that factor into kind of driving you to break that drought?
I mean, obviously, it's once like you don't want to be a part of that and, being attached to that. But at the end of the day, like we have to just worry about, what we can do. And, when you're out there, you can't worry about, for me, even, I can't worry about the 5 years that I've been here or the, 10 plus years before that. You just got to go out there and play. And obviously, you don't want to have that pressure, so to say. But, everybody who enters the league wants to make the playoffs and wants to win a championship. So, every given season, every game that you go out there, that's what you're shopping for. And basically that's how you have to think about it when you're out there playing.
Hey, Fox, you took on the star scoring role last season, and I know the focus as a team is to improve overall defensively. Is it difficult to balance that high workload on offense with trying to have an equal or similar workload defensively? Can you explain like the difficulties of that?
Man, at the end of the day, you just have to be a well-conditioned player. There are a select few of guys in the league that have been able to do both, been able to do both for a long time. And that's what I want to be one of those guys that can, guard the other guy, guard the best, perimeter player on the other team, and still do what you have to do offensively to help your team win. So I know that I have to be better and more consistent on that end of the court from the first quarter to the fourth quarter. And for me, I've been, in the last few years, I think I've been towards the top of the league in like deflections and steals, but it's a lot more than that. It's a lot more than just getting your hand on balls. A lot of times it's just having to be solid, for 6-7 minute stretches, and that'll help defensively.
Have you gotten the opportunity yet to play some one-on-one with Davion Mitchell? And if so, what have those matchups been like between the two of you?
Yeah. So when I came back for California Classic, it was Davion, Tyrese, Mezzi, and I. We actually did some one-on-one stuff. He's good. He's good at anticipating things. He's quick, strong, and then offensively, it goes both ways for him. He uses his strength and his quickness on both sides of the ball. He just has really good instincts.
Yeah, I was just curious what you thought of the offseason overall. There was always so much noise about your team and possibly making moves, and here you are, and it looks like it's ultimately a lot of the same team, bringing a lot of the same guys back. Was just what were your thoughts overall, and just kind of the roster that's in front of you?
For me as a player, obviously you go out there with what you have. Doesn't GM makes moves, he makes movies, he doesn't. But like I said, I think last year, we had a chance, and there were just too many stretches and during the season that we kind of fell apart. So me as a player, I know what we're capable of doing, and we just have to be able to do that for as long of a period of time as we can. And we can't let those slip-ups last for too long. Every team has slip-ups. Everybody loses, 2 or 3 games in a row. But we can't let that continue to stack on each other. And I think last year we let that happen too many times.
In 2018, the fantasy sports experts at Sleeper realized that fantasy basketball was broken. Games were being won and lost based on whose players had more scheduled games that week. It made no sense and required very little strategy. So, in 2020, Sleeper released a brand new way of playing fantasy basketball. It's called Game Pick, and it's only available on Sleeper. In Game Pick, owners pick a single game per week for each starter to count toward their team's total score, ensuring an even number of games played between opponents. The days of losing because your opponent's players simply have more scheduled games than you those weeks, that's over. So are the days of mindless daily busy work over and over again. That takes all the fun out of fantasy. In Game Picks, you pick one game per week for each player based off of player matchups, home and away, opponent defensive ranking, pace of play, and more. Sleeper cracked the fantasy basketball code. If you play fantasy football and you prefer building out a weekly strategy versus daily busy work like you get on fantasy basketball, you're going to love Game Picks. Download the Sleeper app and start a league with your friends today. You will not be disappointed. Sleeper is a one-of-a-kind game pick. It's the most strategic fantasy basketball experience in the industry. Make sure you check it out. Download the app and let them know Locked On sent you. And finally, the Locked On Kings podcast brought to you by Theragun. Don't let the stress of daily life just weigh on your body. Whether you're an elite athlete or someone like me who sits at a computer all day just trying to make it through the day tension-free, Theragun can help. Theragun also was a lifesaver during the 9 months of my wife's pregnancy. Theragun is the handheld percussive therapy device that releases your deepest muscle tension using a scientifically calibrated combo of depth, speed, and power. And it's as quiet as an electric toothbrush. I actually went and got a massage for the first time in years the other day because I was having problems with my back, and I should have just used Theragun. Now, don't get me wrong, the massage was great, but Theragun does the exact same thing that masseuse was doing for my back. It works that well. That's why it's used by professional athletes around the world. Theragun is trusted by 250 professional sports teams like Real Madrid and elite athletes like Paul George from the Clippers, DeAndre Hopkins, Maria Sharapova, hundreds of thousands of customers, and me. Try Theragun for 30 days starting at only $199. Go to therabody.com/locked-on right now and get your Gen 4 Theragun today. That's therabody.com/locked-on. therabody.com/locked-on. I hope you enjoyed hearing from De'Aaron Fox and Tyrese Haliburton today. There should be more player press conferences coming very soon, but it's not likely that you'll hear any of them for the rest of this week, unless something major is said or happens. That's because starting on Wednesday, I have a 3-part podcast mini-series on the 1999 NBA playoffs between the Sacramento Kings and the Utah Jazz. Now, this was the playoff series that really began the golden era for the Sacramento Kings. Also had a classic moment between Chris Webber and John Stockton. Went all the way to Game 5, which was the final round of the opening round of the playoffs at that time. Had some heartbreak, had some game winners, had some drama. It really was the rivalry, the major Sacramento rivalry before the Kings and Lakers. I'm going to be joined by the G-Man Gary Gerald. He's going to share his memories for all the games. The regular season in Game 1 should be on Wednesday, Game 2 and 3 on Thursday, and then Games 4 and 5 on Friday. So if you remember that series, or if you never experienced that series and want to learn a little bit more about it, I'm rewatching the game so I can provide as much context as possible. So I hope you will join me for that. Also, you should join me consistently throughout this week because, well, actually, now that I think about it, it doesn't really help your chances too much at winning a copy of NBA 2K22 that I'm going to be giving away. The best way to win a copy of NBA 2K22, or the only way to win the copy of NBA 2K22, is to leave a review of this Locked On Kings podcast. Take a picture or a screenshot of that review that you leave on Apple Podcasts or iTunes and either email it to me, mattgeorgesports@gmail.com, or tweet it to me, @MattGeorgeSack on Twitter. And if you've already left a review, don't you worry. If you can go and take a picture of your review, if you can find it, none of them have been taken down. You should be able to find it in there. Also, if you're like an Apple Podcast, have an Apple account, you should be able to go to like my reviews and you can see it. Just take a picture of that, send it to me. You don't have to submit a new review for it, but please go and review. Send those email or send me an email, or tweet the screenshot to me because I'm not going to be able to tell who won based off of just the review alone. I'm going to need to make sure I have a way to contact you, and then I will pick a winner at random to give away a copy of NBA 2K22 on the platform of your choice. PC, Xbox, PlayStation, does not matter. I will get it for you, whatever your gaming console of choice is. So again, leave a review of the Locked On Kings podcast on Apple Podcasts or iTunes. Send a screenshot or a picture of that review to @MattGeorgeSack on Twitter or mattgeorgesports@gmail.com. I will pick a winner on Friday at the end of Friday's Locked On Kings podcast. And thank you so much for your support. Hope you have a great rest of the day. Can't wait for you to join me for the Kings and Jazz 1999 playoff relive, I guess is what I'm calling it. I'm not entirely sure yet, and I'm looking forward to producing it. It's going to be great to have G-Man on. It's just going to be a lot of fun. So I hope you will join me for that. Also, I hopefully will have a new backdrop or a better backdrop by the end of the week. I promise. I have a really cool, really nerdy oil painting that is going to go behind me. I'm really looking forward to it. And keep watching on YouTube. I appreciate all your support from those of you who listen on YouTube. Really appreciate you. Of course, audio listeners, you are the best as well. So excited for the start of this Kings season coming very, very shortly. And make sure you keep it locked on Kings all regular season long, as we'll have more great content throughout, hopefully, this Kings push for the playoffs. Until next time, my name is Matt George. You have been listening to Locked On Kings, part of the Locked On Podcast Network.